What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. So Mongo Slade, aka James Harden, things aren't looking good for him, man. They're not looking good for him, and I think this is the beginning of the end of superstar James Harden. And to be honest with you, it may even be the beginning of the end of his NBA career. It's not looking good. It's not, at least from my perspective, it's not looking good for Mongo Slade. Right? Now, for many years, in my opinion, the media have been giving this guy a lot of passes and treating him with kid gloves. There was an incident where he smacked a Kobe fan. There was incidences where he slapped the cell phones out of people's hands, trying to photograph him, whatever. Now, it depends on how close they try to get to him. I don't know those situations. But there was an incident where he was recorded in Vegas slapping somebody. Remember that? It was talked about on TMZ. I don't remember it being talked about on ESPN or Fox Sports. Then there was an incident a couple years ago where overseas, it might have been in Italy, where he was arrested with rapper DaBaby. That wasn't talked about. And there was other incidences where he slapped fans. That wasn't reported. And I have my theory as to why that's the case. You know, I'm just going to say allegedly he is a snitch. Allegedly. Or maybe I should say informant to the media. But now I think not even that's going to stop what's coming. And that is, I think that there's going to be an outpouring of slander toward James Harden. Because once it becomes apparent that his days as an NBA player are coming to a close, he may be forced to go overseas or whatever because of miscalculation on his part about how valuable he is as a player, then the media is going to turn on him. And the deal you made with the devil, aka the left-wing biased-ass media, and don't get me wrong, I'm not a right-winger because I look at Fox News as a right-wing biased devil entity. So don't try that shit with me. But anyway, yeah, I think they're turning on him. So anyway, I'm seeing this report saying that during the NBA season, Sixers players and Doc Rivers apparently had an issue with James Harden enjoying the Miami nightlife, before a game. And this was reported by Ramona Shelburne of ESPN. So Harden didn't travel with the team to Miami, sources said. He traveled separately with permission from the front office to enjoy the nightlife. This is not uncommon in the NBA or for Harden, but it didn't sit well with Rivers and several players on the team, sources said. Wait a minute. Maybe I'm getting my years mixed up. Maybe I'm thinking about his first year. Maybe I'm thinking about his first year, but I know, didn't his first year in Miami, he didn't play in Miami when the team went to Miami and they lost like 99-80? Like he just mysteriously didn't play? And I remember making a joke saying, oh, he's in Miami. He just called out sick because he wanted to go to the club. But there's something to that. Now look, NBA players have a right, I guess, to live their life, right? You do. Because some people are like, well, somebody likes to go to the club. What difference does it make? But what happens if your private life starts affecting your profession? What if you're partying so hard, you're calling out a lot? You're showing up to work late because you're oversleeping, or your production at work is slipping because of your nightlife. Well, now look at it from a Philadelphia Sixers perspective. Maybe some of James Harden's issues, as far as uneven play, comes from him not being in peak physical condition, or as he's getting older, partying lifestyles taking a toll on him. These things matter too. So, I mean, if you look at it, I'm trying to look at it from both sides, but I'm trying not to be so biased, because I don't like Mongo Slade. I think that's apparent. But I do try to be fair with James Harden. Look, I try to look at it from his perspective, man, James Harden, but it's hard for me to feel sympathetic toward him. Yes, I do believe in player empowerment. But when he talks about Daryl Morey and Daryl Morey being a liar and Daryl Morey being all this stuff, right? Daryl Morey is the same dude that came out in 2019, I think it was, and said that Harden was a better scorer than Michael Jordan. Daryl Morey was the same dude that gave James Harden an extension while he was with the Houston Rockets that was, at the time, the biggest contract in NBA history. It wasn't like something like $220-something, $230 million. At the time, that was the biggest contract in NBA history. I didn't hear James Harden complaining then, right? Then, the Sixers, even though they ostensibly fired Doc Rivers for losing, right? They fired Doc Rivers for not getting to the NBA conference finals, let alone the NBA finals. But in reality, according to rumors, the reason why they fired Doc Rivers is because James Harden pledged that he would not play for Doc Rivers ever again. And that's the real reason why he was fired. So after a while, man, this shit gets old. It gets old. Now, did they lie to him and say that they were going to pay him, or Daryl Morey in particular? Did he lie and tell him that he was going to do something and he wasn't able to do it? I don't know. Possibly. It's very possible that he did that. And if he did do it, he's a scumbag. But let me ask you this. How many times do players agree to a contract and then come back to management saying they believe that they deserve more money? That's not honoring their contract either, right? So look, as I've gotten older, when I was younger, I always looked at it from the player's perspective. But as I've gotten older, I look at it from both sides. And I also look at it as a person, like potential boss, like an owner. If someone signs a contract for me and they're supposed to cut 4 lawns on my property, right? I'm just saying, if I had 4 properties and the contract was for this guy, was contracted to cut 4 lawns within a week period, and he's only, all of a sudden now he's coming to me saying, well, I only want to cut 3. That's not what the fuck you signed for, dude. You knew specifically how many lawns you had to cut when you signed that contract. So I try to look at it from a different perspective. But anyway, James Harden fucked himself. He's the one that chose to call Daryl Morey a liar. Reportedly, Daryl Morey was supposedly wounded by that. I don't know. They're both sensitive ass motherfuckers to me. So, and we know how the Sixers can get down. We saw what they did to Ben Simmons. So here we are in September the 6th. This situation has not been resolved, and training camp starts at the the ending of this month. What, about 3 weeks from now? More or less, a little bit under 3 weeks maybe. So we'll see. What you guys think?